In this video, we will be dissecting a heart of pig. You might wondering why are we using the heart of pig? It is because pig hearts are highly similar to the human hearts in terms of the size, structure, and the function. Both pig and human hearts consist of 4 chambers, 2 atria, and 2 ventricles, similar blood flow patterns, and comparable valve arrangement.
The pig's heart has a cone-like shape with a broad base and a pointed apex. The base is the broader upper portion of the heart where the major blood vessels such as the aorta and pulmonary arteries attach. It provides a stable attachment for the great vessels, ensuring a proper alignment and support for the blood flow in and out of the heart. Next is the apex, the pointed tip of the heart, located at the bottom of the heart. It is the most inferior part and is oriented slightly to the left. Apex helps in the effective pumping of the blood. Its pointed shape facilitates the heart's ability to propel blood through the arteries efficiently. The covering of the heart is the pericardium. It is a protective sac that reduces friction as the heart beats. You can also see the left and right ventricles externally. The left ventricle is usually more thicker and muscular than the right ventricle because it pumps oxygenated blood through the aorta to the rest of the body. The right ventricle is smaller than the left ventricle because it only sends deoxygenated blood to the lungs via the pulmonary artery for the oxygenation. You can see the blood vessels runs anteriorly towards the apex of the heart. This is the interventricular sulcus, which is a superficial groove or a depression between the ventricles. This is important because this is where some of the large coronary arteries and veins run. These vessels carry blood to and from the walls of the heart. The following external part of the pig's heart will be discussed by my groupmate.
This is the left atrium, where it receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins and sends it to the left ventricle through the bicuspid or mitral valve. This part is the aorta. This large artery carries oxygenated blood from the heart to the rest of the body, not to the lungs, and this lives from the left ventricle. And this part is the vena cava. The superior and inferior vena cava are large veins that carry the oxygenated blood from the body to the right atrium of the heart.
Using your dissecting apparatus, specifically the scalpel, gently slice or cut a small part of the external skin of the heart. This is the pericardium. The pericardium is a double-walled sac that surrounds and protects the heart. Now, we are going to the internal part of the heart. Just below the atria, cut the heart crosswise or horizontal until it reaches the right side. This is myocardium. Myocardium is a thick muscular layer of the heart wall responsible for the contracting and pumping blood throughout the body. It plays an important role in the heart function and it is made of cardiac muscle tissue. The chordae tendineae are thin tendon-like fibrous cord. They are located in the right and left ventricle of the heart. They are attached to atrioventricular valves, the tricuspid valve on the right side of the heart, and the mitral valve or the bicuspid valve on the left side of the heart. These cords are connected to the papillary muscle, which are small muscular projections from the walls of the heart. These structures play an important role in the heart function by preventing the valves from inverting when the ventricle contracts, ensuring proper blood flow through the heart. And we have a cow heart prepared by one of our members to be better understand this.
The tricuspid valve controls blood flow between the right atrium and right ventricle, preventing backflow during ventricular contraction. The chordae tendineae are string-like structures that connect the valve to the papillary muscles, which contract to keep the valve from inverting, ensuring proper blood flow in one direction.
Aorta appears as a large round tube with a smooth inner surface. It is the largest artery in the body, so it's thicker and wider than other blood vessels. It is also the main artery that carries oxygenated blood from the left ventricle of the heart to the rest of the body. Major blood vessels includes pulmonary arteries, pulmonary veins, and superior and inferior vena cava. Pulmonary arteries carry the oxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. Pulmonary veins return oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium, while superior and inferior vena cava return the oxygenated blood from the body to the right atrium. The significance of this is that they demonstrate the pathways of blood flow between the heart, lungs, and body.
The enterarterial septum is found between the left atrium and the right atrium of the heart. It separates these two upper chambers and helps ensure that oxygenated blood from the left atrium and the oxygenated blood from the right atrium do not mix.
This is the interventricular septum. It maintains a separation between the left and right ventricles. This separation ensures that oxygenated and deoxygenated blood do not mix. The septum, which is muscular, provides the necessary structural support during the heart's contractions, preventing pressure imbalances between the two ventricles. This division also helps the heart function efficiently, maintaining the proper circulation of the blood throughout the body.
This cut will allow us to see the internal structure of the heart, including the left and right ventricles. The first step is position the heart where the apex facing towards me and at the base facing away. Second step is the cutting of points which identify first the middle of the heart. Between the base and apex, which we have to do the transverse cut. Then cut across using a blade starting at the middle and cutting all the way through.
The right ventricle is located below the right atrium and serves as its corresponding lower chamber. Its primary role is to pump the oxygenated blood into the lungs for oxygenation. When the right ventricle contracts, it sends blood through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary trunk, which branches into the left and right pulmonary arteries leading to each lungs. The left ventricle. The left ventricle is the main pumping chamber of the heart. Its main primary function is to pump oxygen-rich blood from the lungs to the rest of the body. It receives oxygen-rich blood from the left atrium through the mitral valve. Left ventricle has thicker walls compared to the right ventricle to generate high pressures needed to pump blood throughout the body.
Now, we are locating the interior parts of the right and left atria. Using a scalpel, gently cut the remaining excess tissues surrounding the atria to view the internal structure. This part is the right atrium, where the oxygenated blood from superior and inferior vena cava passes into the right ventricle, then to the pulmonary artery, and finally to the lungs, where the blood is oxygenated. This is the left atrium, where oxygenated blood from the lungs passes into the left ventricle and is pumped out through the aorta, which is distribute the oxygenated blood throughout the body. The flow of the blood, starting with the deoxygenated blood from the body, enters the right atrium through the superior and inferior vena cava. Oxygen-rich blood from the lungs return to the heart via pulmonary veins and enter the left atrium. From the right atrium, blood flows through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. The right ventricle contracts and pushes the blood through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, where it picks up the oxygen and releases the carbon dioxide. Blood flows from the left atrium to the bicuspid valve into the left ventricle. The left ventricle contracts, sending blood through the aortic valve into the aorta, and the aorta distributes the oxygenated blood to the rest of the body. Dissecting a heart of pig allows the student to see and touch the actual anatomical structure, which helps to deepen their understanding of how body systems are organized and function.